Welcome back. I'm Matt Gilmore. That's Don Kagan-Fleming across sitting in for Aaron Rand this week. Time now for the Business Brief with Amanda Lang, business anchor with BNN Bloomberg and host of Take Stock, which is available across the Iheart radio network. Hi, Amanda. Good to talk to you.
Hi.
So the Canadian economy outpaced expectations in Q4 at the end of last year.
Yeah, I mean, 2.6% in the last 3 months is actually pretty strong for us, believe it or not. And it's really a combo of things. Economists suggest a lot of it has to do with activity happening ahead of threatened tariffs. So people trying to get in front of that, either buying things or exporting things to the U.S. so that it's there in place. And that, of course, means that's a one-off. That may well fade away as we see the reality of tariffs hit. And then, of course, we have the bad news of the coming quarters, which may well have to be dealing with the economic impact of those tariffs. So let's enjoy this while it lasts is the bottom line.
And if we look at it over the year, how did we do sort of year to year?
Well, that's the 2.6% is an annualized number, and that's strong. I mean, other than in times when our government is stimulating our economy with massive amounts of stimulus, that is for Canada kind of above trend for the last 20 years. And we should note as well that part of this, just part of December, did include those GST breaks. It's hard to know the impact. Economists don't seem to be making much of it, but you might have seen a little bit of a boost in household spending because of that as well.
And this is, if I'm not mistaken, quite a bit more than some economists were projecting for that. Is that because maybe it wasn't as easy to take into account what you'd mentioned there in terms of people trying to buy before tariffs? What kind of explains how big of a difference it was?
Yeah, I think you're on the money there. There's a lot of uncertainty around how people will respond to that and the magnitude of it. And so economists have a tough time forecasting when there's such an unusual, you got to have some pity for the economists in recent years, because whether it's the pandemic or the invasion of Ukraine, there have been these events that just make it really hard to know what the outcome will be, to model it as they like to do. And this is another example. We just didn't know how much people would try to get in front of this. And by the way, we also don't know what the drop-off will be. If this is a spike of activity, then there's usually a decline, right? A trough. So that may well come. What will that come? In the first quarter of this year? Will it be the summer quarter? It's hard to know.
Well, speaking of hard to predict, cryptocurrency prices are coming back down again. What do you think is causing that?
I mean, listen, I am not a believer in crypto in general, in the sense that I think there's a lot of value in these things that has yet to be proved out for any real reason. There was a lot of enthusiasm with Donald Trump's presidency, and you saw new highs for cryptos, that including his own, of course, meme coin, which had zero value whatsoever other than kind of novelty value. About $1 trillion has been wiped off the value of cryptos globally. From what I can tell, it's really just air coming out of the overvaluation a little bit. It doesn't mean people who believe in it and think there's a future, they'll hold on here. But what economists and analysts in the space will say is it's hard to know where the bottom is, because it's all overshot the mark so much that it does have to come back down to earth. It's hard to know where earth is.
You're listening to CJAD 800 in Montreal now. I'm Don Kagan-Fleming here with Matt Gilmore, and we're speaking with Amanda Lang, business anchor with BNN Bloomberg and the host of Taking Stock. Now, Amanda, you mentioned Donald Trump there, and moving over to a close ally of his, Elon Musk and Tesla. Tesla stocks have been having a tough time, and it seems to only be getting worse right now.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but when you see bumper stickers on cars saying, "I bought this before I knew he was a jerk," you know that the brand is in trouble. Tesla has other issues, and that is, of course, ironically, in the U.S., a pullback, a reversal on policies that were supportive of electric vehicles. So we've actually seen a whole bunch of big auto manufacturers changing their strategy. Stellantis did it here in Canada because there's been a shift in the winds of support for EV. That's going to hurt Tesla as well. But the real issue for it this week was its numbers. They weren't strong. Europe is particularly weak. So we're seeing disappointment on the sales side. And from what I'm seeing, there's an expectation that that's going to continue. And then going back to kind of the branding problem they have, Elon Musk is up as a really politically polarizing figure. And if you're the head of a company that's selling to consumers, you usually avoid that. And so it might come home to roost a little bit that there might be some believers in him still, but a lot of people are wanting to distance themselves from him and therefore his brand.
Do you think it's all to do with sort of his brand and the marketing around it? But I mean, Tesla, besides the Cybertruck, hasn't really released a new vehicle in a long time. Its sedans are pretty old vehicles now. Is there there's a whole other sort of line of other options? Do you think that it has something to do with the business as well, not just the brand of the CEO?
Oh, 100%. I think you're nailing it in terms of why sales are soft in Europe and why we've seen kind of a topping out of sales across North America. But there are two parts to it. One is there was a ton of government support, subsidies for these vehicles, and that's all fading off everywhere. And then to your point, there's lots of competition now if you want it. And of course, you need to keep consumers interested with something new. Now, the Tesla is still, by all accounts, a decent car. The cars that are in the market are good. People who have them, may well like them. But we definitely need to give consumers a new reason to buy. It's why you see updated models all the time. So yes. And then the vicious circle of this, of course, is as sales decline or flatten out, Tesla has less capital, right, to invest in R&D and new models. So it can become a little bit of a circular problem for the company.
Do you think that there's going to be a push from investors to have Elon Musk either tone it down the way he's behaving in public or step away from the company? Because, I mean, the company is the reason why he's become the richest man in the world and given him all this power. But if he starts to lose that the trust of his investors, he might be in a bit of trouble there.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I mean, he's tried to distance himself in the sense that there's ostensibly somebody else in charge right now, but it seems unclear the extent to which that's actually true. How he could distance himself is a big question. He's still, of course, majority shareholder. He's still enriched when it is enriched, and was, the beneficiary of tens of billions of U.S. government subsidies to get there. So it's hard to know how you could separate the two things. Will he distance from Trump at some point anyway? Maybe. But I think, if I were betting, I would say history will show that his political activism will not be good for this company, that those two things don't generally go well together, no matter how everything shakes out.
And Amanda, when it comes to the situation right now, I know you'd mentioned other companies changing strategies. Is there any chance of other, players in the market benefiting more, even with the tough situation for EVs, of some of this downturn for Tesla?
Yeah, I would hope so. I mean, it's funny, I was thinking that very along those lines. The disappointing part, of course, for other players is there is this general reversal or lack of support. So governments everywhere, including in this country, we're just sort of seeing the winds shifting in the other direction. How long that is, I don't know. But it is a bit unfortunate for those that might have come in and taken market share, because it's sort of a winter for electric vehicles in a general way in terms of any kind of government support and also consumer support. It just sort of feels it's shifted a little bit. So it might be an opportunity for sure for some, but not the opportunity that it could have been.
Amanda Lang is business anchor with BNN Bloomberg and the host of Take Stock, which is available across the Iheart Radio network. Thanks very much, Amanda.
Great to talk.